Knockout chaos is what it's being billed as. Anthony Joshua, former unified heavyweight champion, takes on former UFC heavyweight champion Francis Ngannou. Let's get the thoughts of the guys. Chris, start with you. It's a fight we didn't expect, right? No one asked for, but all of a sudden, people are excited about this one.
Yeah, they're excited because Francis Ngannou proved himself in that Tyson Fury fight. Whether you thought he won or lost, he was the most impressive MMA crossover fighter we've ever seen. Putting Tyson Fury down and being competitive as a boxer throughout the 10 rounds of this fight. And AJ, I think, has accomplished what he set out to accomplish in 2023, which was become a contender once again, rebuild in the way they did, getting those 3 wins, most notably the most impressive one against Otto Wallen. But when I think about this fight, like, as good as Ngannou looked against Fury, it's that old Rocky line, like, this guy's all wrong for you, baby. Like, this guy, like, I think AJ is all wrong for Francis Ngannou because AJ is more of a hitter, whereas Fury is more of a boxer. And I think that power is something Francis Ngannou, the novice boxer, is going to have a lot of problems with.
Did you see anything in the Fury fight to think this will be competitive for at least a few rounds?
Well, I'll tell you what he did show in the Fury fight. Good structure. He didn't make, like, he turned from the core when he threw the right hand. I watched him because all we had is what he did in the UFC. And when he threw that right hand, he brought the right foot forward every time, obviously to grab and all the stuff, the technical stuff that they do in that combat sport. But he didn't do that. He kept the shape. He looked like the boxer of the two on that night, to be honest. But I agree with Chris. I think in this fight, you think it would be an easier fight because he's going to have a guy who's right in front of him, not a guy who's quite elusive. But I think with Fury's magic and the mistakes he makes is because he gives you opportunities. So with that, you can knock him down and hurt him, or he makes you look really silly and plays with you. But he invites the trouble, he invites the fight, he invites the punches. Where Joshua, especially as he showed in his last fight again, a little bit of a bounce to his step, a little in and out, so he'll throw some feints, and because you'll see him in front of you, but his hands are always high, his elbows are always tucked in tight. So even though you have an opponent, you don't have a massive target. With Fury, he might not stand in front of you, but his hands are here. So you see the big target. So you just got to advance your feet forward, and hopefully he doesn't get out of the way. But against Joshua, he's gonna try and look for the target because he's going to see the hands here and not see much of that triangle in front of you, if you like, which is the target you hit. And I think that he's going to struggle with that. And also, he's going to have a guy who punches clean, straight, and direct right at him. And I think the jab has always been the problem for AJ since Randy Ruiz won. Is the most important punch again in this fight. If he bangs a big, heavy jab on Francis Ngannou as Ngannou comes forward, that's probably something he's never experienced before.
Sergio, are you okay with this fight? And what I mean by that is that there are a lot of people saying, okay, AJ should maybe go down the traditional boxing route of a Hrgovic, maybe a Zhilei Zhang, potentially even a Joseph Parker rematch because Parker looks so good against Wilder. Are you okay with AJ kind of putting that to the side for this fight and taking on Ngannou?
He's a prize fighter and they're fighting for a big prize, so yeah, I can't hate on this one, and the fact that there's a storyline there, you could actually market it, Ngannou put down the lineal champion of the world. Now the former 2-time heavyweight champion in Joshua has a chance to knock out the guy that just put down the champ. So it's a good storyline. You can package it up, you can sell it, you can market it. I want to see it. Both fighters are going to make a boatload of money. God bless Francis Ngannou.
Story.
No, listen, I'm not an MMA fan, but when I read up on him, when I was talking about the fight with Fury, incredible story that he has, and you can't teach power, so he has that. You can't teach the courage and the story that he's gone through, everything he's gone through in his life. He brings that into the ring. He wanted to be a boxer before an MMA fighter, so he has that background. But now he's in there with a fighter that in Joshua, that's a big man, huge man, just like Fury, but different styles, different fight. I think Fury didn't take him serious. He took him lightly and he paid for it. Joshua, on the other hand, we know he's been fragile. He's not going to take him. He's not going to take him for granted. I think he's an excellent fighter when it comes to fighting other big men. I think he puts down and knocks out Ngannou in sensational fashion. Then maybe we can have Joshua fight a real heavyweight. But for right now, this is a great, a marketable fight.
And I think Ngannou kind of said it, where there's not going to be any surprises in this fight. There's no question Tyson Fury was surprised by what he saw, what was in front of him. Both the power, the technique, all the things. I mean, Ngannou, masterful digital game of rope-a-dope in the months prior to that fight, because all the videos we saw of Francis Ngannou made it look like he was just lost in the boxing ring. Then he's coming out, he's on his toes, he's throwing combinations. Everyone was so
Switched to
nervous.
southpaw a couple of
he's
times,
switching
yeah.
stances. He's power with both hands. So the surprise factor is gone. With Anthony Joshua. And with Ben Davison, who is now, they clearly have some chemistry, the two of them. They're going to be prepared. They're going to have a game plan for this. They're not going to be shocked when Ngannou comes out and looks more like a boxer than a brawler.
The crazy thing is, you still don't know how good Ngannou is. How do you judge him on one fight? It was against, arguably the best heavyweight on the planet right now, on paper. But still, he could still be rubbish, or he could be absolutely brilliant.
Let me give you 2 reasons why I think Ngannou's going to do better in this fight than maybe former world champion thinks it's going to be. He always throws it in my face. First of all, I did a triathlon 10 years ago. Let me tell you a personal story here. I did a triathlon 10 years ago, right? I trained for it for 6 months. I started. I felt good in the swim. I was doing the run. I was doing the cycling. I was like, I'm starting to get a little tired, but I could push further. I was like, no, let me lay back a little bit. I've never done a triathlon before. I don't know what it's going to be like by the time I get to the run. I got to the run, I started cramping up, I slowed down. When all was said and done, I finished, and I was like, man, I could have done this 30 minutes faster next time. I'll be so much better because I know what it's like. Ngannou even said, I have no idea what it's like to go 10 rounds against Tyson Fury. And you could see even when he had him in trouble, he never really got aggressive. He just stayed very calm. And why all of a sudden is Anthony Joshua this killer again, by the way? He beat up Otto Wallen and got the knockout after looking very pedestrian for 6 rounds. If he fights the way he was fighting then, which was very tentative, I think this could be a real 10-round stinker and be very boring where AJ's very hesitant like Tyson was, because if he gets in there and starts to see that Ngannou's better than maybe he thought he was, he's going to be like, wait a minute, I can't lose this fight either, or I'm done. My career's done. So I think that maybe Ngannou is going to be more confident this time and might force AJ into revert to some of those old bad habits.
Yeah, but he's seen 10 rounds of boxing, right, against a championship level boxer. He hasn't seen 10 rounds of power. And look, maybe we're never going to get the AJ that was, throwing punches at Dillian White, that was hunting down Charles Martin. Maybe that guy's gone forever. But if Otto Wallen had come out of the corner for that last round, we probably would have seen something devastating. His nose was busted. Joey Gamage saved him in that fight from that highlight reel type of knockout.
But Wallen didn't have any power to scare AJ.
Didn't have any power to scare AJ,
Yeah,
but
he doesn't have that frame either.
Yeah.
Does it? Yeah.
but he doesn't. But there's nothing that a guy like Ngannou can do to prepare for what's coming from Anthony Joshua. Whether or not he's throwing 6-7 punch combinations, the 1-2s are going to be really hard. And they're going to be a unique experience for him because he's never been hit like that with those types of gloves, with that type of style.
I think as well, the thing with Joshua, what we've seen, and you're right, he's not where he was, but I think there's been an improvement from the Franklin fight on, even though the Helenius fight wasn't great. But the finish was the first time that I think that he actually committed to an attack and it worked. I think that fight he knew at last. I committed with that jab, and it's always the jab with him. You commit with that jab, and then because I committed with that jab, I could punch right through the target with the right hand. Now, before that, he was touching, and then couldn't understand why he wasn't knocking people out anymore. Because he was doing what I would do, what we would do. You move in, you're already thinking about the next move back, so you don't get hit again. That's clever boxing, but not for him. Mm-hmm. But he showed it in that knockout, and I think that in the Wallen fight, he come into that fight a much more confident guy, because you can train for stuff, but until you actually do it in practice.
Sorry, you're talking about confident. You were there for the stare down between AJ and Ngannou. Did AJ exude confidence that he's going to kill this guy?
No.
Did you sense that?
No, not at all.
He doesn't need to kill this
guy.
guy.
AJ did say, I think, in the aftermath of it, I think because someone maybe clipped up the fact that he kind of took his face away first and the stare down. He's like, it means nothing.
That means nothing.
It means nothing. You're going to get in the ring and we're going to show you what I can do.
But you can look at stuff like that. I know you know more than us. So you've been in bigger fights where, like that telling people you're not scared is important. But ultimately, you don't lose a fight in a stare down. And I think him being a guy, I don't think he's got to run through Ngannou. He has to be clever with his feet. I think he can outbox him, and with that, within 5-6 rounds, that outboxing him can stop him.
What's interesting though, when I looked at both of those, like physically, every time I've done an AJ fight, AJ physically is the biggest person in the room. Like he's almost intimidating these guys because of his height and his size. Ngannou's as big, a little shorter in terms of height. I think Ngannou's about 6'3", AJ 6'5". But in terms of just physical, AJ knows in the ring he's not the bully for the first time, whereas normally he is that on the front foot bullying guys. with his presence. What do you make, very quickly actually guys, before we do wrap, AJ spoke about Derek James and this training setup. And I think he was asked, are you still working with Derek James? And he's like, yeah, Derek James is still part of this camp. I don't know how that works. Ben Davison, Derek James, Lee Wiley, what's going on?
There's too many. I can't
many
say
cooks in the
that can
kitchen?
work. You've got to have one voice. Ultimately, when you've got a guy who's experienced as he is, you can't change him. No, he is what he is. You just got to remind him what he's good at. So it's almost just simplifying things. I think he overthinks stuff. So you almost say, listen, Anthony, we'll do the thinking for you, pretty much. And then everyone will take you out and you do 1 or 2, 3 things. That's it. That's all you need to do. I mean,
and that is Ben Davison, Lee Wiley.
Yeah, you just need to find someone you've got chemistry with, and you can have someone you have no chemistry with, or you can jump into someone you have great chemistry with. I'm reminded of what Miguel Cotto did in the twilight of his career. Wound up working with Freddie Roach and won a world title after that. They just had some great chemistry. It looks like from the outside that Anthony Joshua and Ben Davison and his team have great chemistry.
On this AJ, where AJ is thing, obviously, look, Fury and Usyk are number 1 and 2, whichever order you want to put it. Who is the 3rd best heavyweight in boxing right now? Is it AJ? Is it Zhilei Zhang? Is AJ the 3rd best now because of that 2023 run, or is there still debates to be had?
I want to see what Jean can do next.
Yeah.
I mean, I want to see what he hasn't gotten that big opportunity yet. Once we see how good he is, it's hard to say he's 3rd. I mean, AJ's gotten a lot of mulligans, right? He's lost to Usyk twice. He's looked bad in a couple other fights. Ruiz put him down. So to just say he's 3rd now because he beat up Otto Wallen is to me more of a testament that AJ's a popular guy more than the 3rd best heavyweight in the world.
How about Joseph Parker? Why not? I mean, he just beat Deontay Wilder. I mean, that's very,
I feel like he's not getting enough plaudits
He's
for that
not getting
win, by
enough
the way.
credit. He's a
Everyone's
former
more like looking at
Yeah, but
Wilder.
Wilder
former
looked like a
champion.
ghost. That's why a lot of people aren't giving
It
him
doesn't
credit.
matter. He's a former champion. He beat down. He beat Wilder. I mean, that was an exciting fight. Joseph Parker has all the skills. He's still young enough. He's still growing. He's found a new confidence in a new trainer. I mean, Joseph Parker's a legit threat now to heavyweight.
The 3rd best heavyweight is Filip Perkovic. That's the 3rd best heavyweight in boxing because Filip Perkovic beat Zhilei Zhang.
Yeah, he did. The record book suggests he beat
Look,
him, but he did.
it was close.
I thought
It was close. It was
actually.
fine. It was when you're that close a fight, it's competitive. Joseph Parker, phenomenal win, but also had a loss to Joe Joyce, and that's had some losses in the past. Hrgovic is undefeated. Hrgovic has had some quality wins. I'm not counting the last one, which was something else entirely. But to me, Hrgovic, decorated amateur, undefeated as a professional, beat Zhilei Zhang, has beaten some good guys in his career. That to me is the clear number 3.
I think it's hard to judge it because I think there's so many fighters there who can perform and underperform.
And can stake a claim.
And I mean consistently do box that way. And so it's almost that however good you were in your last sort of fight. And then if we say that, then we have to put Dubois in that mix all of a sudden, which you wouldn't put nowhere near that. I wouldn't put him top 3. But I mean, he had a fantastic performance against Gerard Miller. How good is Miller though? Again,
let's not forget the talk around Joe Joyce before Zhilei Zhang destroyed him back to back. All right, in terms of winning in this one, I guess everyone here is going to go for AJ. What are we going for? Stoppage? Points?
Yeah, I think AJ round 6.
Hey, I'm forgetting one thing that would put more pressure on AJ. You heard His Excellency say, I specifically made this fight because I want AJ to beat this guy. I want him to be my mercenary to protect boxing that I love so much. So that's even more pressure on AJ. But I think this goes the distance, and I think AJ wins on points.
What does that say about heavyweight boxing that an MMA guy can come in and go the distance with the former unified heavyweight champion and the current WBC champion?
No, I'm with Barry. I think AJ gets a stoppage somewhere in the second half of the fight between round 6 and 9.
Anthony Joshua knockout, and it's going to be a pretty one-sided knockout. I think he beats down Ngannou the way Tyson Fury should have.
All right, knockout chaos coming your way very, very soon. Anthony Joshua versus Francis Ngannou. I don't think this one will go to points.
On DAZN worldwide, Friday, March 8th. Buy now at DAZN.com.